Hello, everyone. Fifi and Sam here, back for another midweek musings. We missed last week. I was away on holiday. Sam, you've had a lot going on as well, so let's have a little catch up and see what's been happening for both of us.
Yeah. Do you want to start? You had a week away in Cornwall, didn't you? And you went completely tech free, which I'm totally envious of. How was it?
Oh, it was wonderful. It was funny. Like I decided that this opportunity for a holiday came up, so it wasn't actually planned at all. But um, one of my sisters, her and her family had a week booked, or 2 weeks actually, booked in Cornwall, and they ended up with a spare room and just offered it to me and Andy, and I just thought, oh, this is the opportunity to really just have a like proper amount of time, like completely to myself, really. So no laptop, no phone. And I felt this on the morning we were leaving. I felt this panic, like, oh my God, my phone. I know. And it was just about this, this, if there was an emergency, it's become such a part of us, and I don't like that, because I remember, like, I'm old enough to remember life before mobiles, and it was no problem. There weren't these constant
Yeah.
catastrophes happening where if only I'd had a mobile phone. So now we've been conditioned into thinking you must have it at all times, but there was this kind of momentary but then it was such a relief, and I did not miss. I absolutely relished the unplugging the whole time. There was not one moment where I felt myself reaching for the phantom phone or any of that. I'd made the decision to be really present and appreciating my surroundings, and just being, well, just awake, really, just aware of everything that I'm living. And I think that intention, it kind of takes
Yeah. But
over.
obviously you've not really had that opportunity before, have you? Like you've worked like virtually non-stop on this since kind of February 2021. And like I know even when you've been on holiday before, you've still been working away, still been kind of doing those long hours even when you're on holiday. So I think, it was definitely well deserved.
Oh, I honestly would recommend to everyone, take some time to just, if you are going away, and you can leave that behind, just get off all the social media, stop watching all that content, stop being bombarded with all that information, it just gives you that space to allow yourself somehow to just it was funny. I was just, you're just being like, I remember just sitting on the beach, and just being, obviously Cornwall's stunning, so you're always seeing these like beautiful scenery and places and things, so it's quite easy. But I was like jolted, like, oh, I remember this feeling of just being there, like fully present. And I don't think it's possible, at least not for me, I can't speak for anyone else, but I think there's always got to capture this, taking photos, and then you've got to, there's this push to send them out to people, and broadcasting, and we've become like our own broadcasters with a lot of the social media, and it does strip something away. And it was just like, I remember this nostalgia of having this buzzing feeling of actually being there, and not
Life before online and constant, capturing. Yeah.
exactly. I mean, there's a place for it. I said in my live on Sunday that you know, if you're using it for its purpose, that's all well and good, but is it using us? And I think most of the time it is, actually. And I can feel it in myself. Obviously yesterday I had to do a lot of catching up, and the day before, a lot of catching up on emails and messages and things like that, and I could feel my mind is just not, you're just, yeah, it's just, you're drawn into it. But I was quite, right, okay, I've done that and now that's put aside, and I don't actually feel that I want to be checking and
I think, as you say, though, there is a place for it. I kind of think and the key is, obviously, you're using it and it's not using you. Absolutely agree. But I mean, I think of, you know, what I've gained from social media, and it is just this enormous network of inspiring, incredible, beautiful souls that I would have never had the opportunity to kind of connect with without social media.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think, you know, in that aspect, it is a real blessing that so many of us have been able to come together. But as you say, you know, there is, it balance comes back to balance. We bang on about it all the bloody time, don't we? Like, it's balance.
Yeah, it is completely. I mean, a stand in the park would not have, this all started from Facebook, you know, as much as I'm constantly moaning, especially what it's turned into. But without that, you know, it couldn't have spread. And it's like,
well, I think it probably would have done, but not nearly as fast as it did.
Yeah, I think it would have been, and you wouldn't have that level of connection. But see, that's the thing. Yeah, when you're using it, it's wonderful, because you're not being absorbed. You've got your awareness then, but it's when you're being sucked into the information whirlwind, that's kind of the practical stuff, absolutely, and sharing inspiring things and connecting, but that constant reaching for, and what's the latest update, and is there a message, oh, it's dinged, it's controlling us then. So like you say, as with everything, balance. It's everything's got its blessings and a curse, isn't it? And the same thing, we choose, we get to decide. And that's kind of what I discovered having this week away, is just how much control it does have. And it definitely affects your brain, like the wiring. It's reduced our attention levels I've seen it in myself. And when you're constantly checking, and that's like every day, it's very difficult to come home to yourself and actually feel here fully in the physical, which is what we're always banging on about as well, the importance, which is what the stands are about, is getting together physically, because that's life, isn't it? That's real life. So yeah, it was great. And I'm still doing a lot of, I had a lot of epiphanies and things. I can't really put things into words at the moment, but a lot of really like just insights and realizations just from having that time to myself and being in such a lovely place. So maybe at some point I'll be able to like share something of use from that. Maybe not, but yeah, it was fabulous. Thank you. But yeah, so you've also had quite a lot of going on. So the day I left, that was the 23rd, Saturday the 23rd. So you were at the protest. So
yes,
how did that go?
That was it was brilliant. It was really, really good. I met a lot of standers, which as anyone who kind of follows my post or whatever, is one of the absolute best things for me of sort of anything within the freedom community is actually meeting those people that I chat to online, and those standards that I see in photographs. And yeah, it was absolutely wonderful. I connected with so many people, and despite, obviously, it was, you know, in memory of victims of the injection and the wrongdoings that's been happening there was still this really kind of loving energy, and still really quite joyful is the wrong word. I'm trying to think of the right word for it, but it was still a really kind of positive day, of people coming together, showing solidarity and compassion. And I think you know, that's the real key, is that there is compassion for, you know, these people that have made the decision to have the injection and have subsequently, you know, wound up regretting it, as you know, a lot of people have. And there were a lot of people that I did speak to that were there at the march because they had been injured, some of which, you know, they were telling me about their experiences. And you know, it was very, very sad, but at the same time, you know, they'd had this renewed outlook on the way of the world and what was going on, and they had this kind of, you know, renewed out of sharing their stories, and this real bravery, to tell their story and to get it out there in the hope that other people may reconsider, you know, their path and their journey and the decisions that they make, and that there doesn't need to be this divide between vaccinated and unvaccinated. You know, we've all been conned wherever you are on your journey. We've all been lied to, we've all been conned. Some of us, you know, perhaps saw it a little bit earlier than others, but we shouldn't be divided based on our status. It's ridiculous and nonsensical. We all have our reasons for making the decisions that we do based on the information we have available to us at the time. And I you know, I absolutely think, you know, we shouldn't be here judging anyone for the decisions that they've made, and sort of should be having compassion and understanding for everybody, and you know, big hugs and love. And you know, I think it's really, really important, and that really came through at the protest, that actually, you know, there is a lot of love and a lot of compassion within our kind of freedom community. That actually the vast majority of people, we're not judging, we're not, you know, shunning people based on any of this. But yeah, no, the protest was, it was brilliant. I really enjoyed it. But then everyone knows I love the protests. I just love that great gathering of like minds, you know, with the same intention, the same energy, the same vision for the future. You know, for me, it's just feeling that energy is just so incredible.
Yeah, it's a very potent, powerful thing, and it's so much more effective than people getting together in anger, which is exactly what they want. And I'm not saying that there's no place for anger. There absolutely is, like a right.
Well, there's a lot to be angry about, but yeah, it's mastering that anger, turning it into something that can motivate you in the right way, rather than letting it control you and control your reactions and being a reactive anger, I think.
Yeah, exactly. It will become corrosive if it's held on to. We need anger, indignation, you know, those things that they serve as a catalyst, to get us moving and changing things. It's quite it's an important, like, energy. But yeah, if you're stuck in it and it festers, that's wonderful to them, because there's a lot of fear in it as well. But when you've got people that, you come together and you probably have felt a lot of anger in that, but then you're united, and that's like any time that we are coming together, like in that spirit, it's one in the eye to them, because again, it just shows what's really inside us. We're hardwired, like, in the end, when it comes down to it, we are one, and we are still fighting for those who are still, you know, blinkered and still being, you know, sort of the sleepwalking off the cliff edge. That if we didn't have compassion, as angry as people can get, rant and rave about these bloody zombies, and yeah, it's like, but we still are compelled to
We're still standing for them.
Yeah, whatever it is, because they're our brothers and sisters, you know, as divided as we can feel sometimes, it's still, that's the sort of energy running through. So you definitely pick it up when you're at these like big gatherings, like you say. And it's the same with the stands, isn't it? We've got like a common purpose, if you can even call it that. But so then you had the following weekend, when I was just coming back, you had another like major gathering of a truly kind of joyful nature.
Oh my God, it was the most amazing weekend. I was really, really blessed to go to the Hope Sussex Freedom Music Festival. It was a gift from my Basingstoke standers, which I cannot thank them enough. I was completely overwhelmed. I was like, you didn't need to do that. But they said they wanted to show their gratitude for everything I've done for them in the last sort of 16, 18 months. And I was so touched, because, you know, we're not in a position where we would have been able to go. So yeah, really just so grateful. But yeah, we went down to near Battle in Sussex, where Hope Sussex put on a music festival. It was just incredible. Like, I cannot tell you, the entire, as I say, it's about that energy again, knowing that I think it was quite a small festival. I mean, I went not really knowing what to expect, and it was quite small. I think they had about 500 people there, but I absolutely loved it because it was so much more intimate than you sort of see these commercial kind of massive festivals. It was really chilled, really relaxed, really friendly and open. And it was just joyous. Again, I met some wonderful people, a lot of standers. We did a little stand on the Sunday morning as well. Yeah, there was some great music as well. Really great music. Obviously, you know, you had the dance band. I posted the video of We Are the 99% on the that was epic. That was honestly one of my highlights, because it harks back to kind of the earlier protests, doesn't it, where you had, you know, hundreds of thousands of people kind of, you know, all singing the same song. And the lyrics are fab, and there's always this, and it just builds and builds. It's quite a long song, and the energy in the tent just kind of built and built and built, and it was just brilliant. And Lucas Lyon as well, who I'd not heard of previously. I caught some of his set, and I was just blown away. I actually went and bought his CD while I was there. Obviously he was selling them, and I've been listening to it since I come home, but it blaring out, like, let the street hear, you know, truth sounds. Yeah, loving it. It was really nice. So it's my kids, obviously we did take our kids. It was our kids' first kind of music festival experience, and my daughter was a bit like, you know, there was going to be no sort of running water, there was no sort of electric. We normally kind of go sort of posh camping. When we go camping, we go on an electric site, so we can have a fridge, and, you know, when it's cold, we take a little heater with us. I'll tell you, there's nothing worse than like moaning kids of like, I'm cold, and, you know, this, that and the other. So try and make it as nice as possible. And, you know, she was a bit like, I don't want to, but she got there, and after a few, she just absolutely embraced it. And there were so many other children there, and they had an absolute blast, you know, to the point where we were coming home on the Sunday night, and there were tears in the car of, I don't want it to end, mummy, I want to stay. It was really lovely. As I say, it was just the atmosphere was just so friendly and open. And my daughter particularly, she's very much like me. I think she's a very kind of empathic, kind of energy focused person. I don't think she quite understands it yet, although I obviously do talk to her about it. And I think she just felt, you know, this energy of how, you know, lovely it was. And yeah, well, they both did. My son was just hugging everybody because he's a hugger.
Yeah.
We're a family of huggers, to be fair. There's no, you ask my kids what's mummy's favorite thing in the whole world, they'll tell you it's hugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the best thing in the world. Can't have enough hugs. But yeah, and yeah, he was playing trains with the Braintree standers that we met while we were up there, which is brilliant. They were sort of sat playing trains and, you know, having a chat and face painting, Bouncy Castle. There was this lovely little zoo cafe, I think it was, which had kind of really nice music. It was kind of chilled, little cafe. It had Jenga blocks and stuff like that. And yeah, the kids spent a lot of time in there and really enjoyed it. And yeah, my son was like rocking out to the music, like he's got some proper little moves on him. He was loving it. But again, you know, the biggest highlight for me was, you know, meeting so many standers and being able to really kind of cement those connections. There was a lot of people, particularly Braintree and Colchester, sorry, Chelmsford. They post their photos every week in the UK group, which I love because obviously I do my little column. But you know, these are people that I see week in, week out. I see their photos. And there's almost that like feeling like you know them and you chat to them in the group, and being able to kind of cement that personal connection, you know, when I was there was just, it was the biggest highlight. Was meeting the other standers. There's something so beautiful about meeting these people that every Sunday, you know, in spirit we're all standing together. And you just know, you know, intrinsically that there's this connection and this shared vision and this shared belief, and you know, just the foundations for a beautiful connection are already there. And when you meet in person, it's just, it was wonderful. I could honestly bang on about the festival forever. What I will actually say as well was I met Donna Marie and Kate Joe, who are obviously kind of the leads behind the Hope Sussex project. And they were telling me about it. I was privileged to kind of have a little walk around and see what they've been doing. They were telling me of all the developments they've been making. And then obviously, as you know, they're setting up obviously the education centre, they've got a health hub there, and they're also setting up like a food growing kind of cooperative. And as well as doing that, they've organised this epic festival that was amazing. And honestly, I came away from there just so incredibly inspired by what these people are achieving. Obviously, they have got an army of volunteers that are helping them out, and all the stuff they're doing. But I kind of, you see them and they are forging the way. They're kind of leading the way in building a new world, building a better future, one that's focused on community, one that's focused on like holistic learning, and growing your own food that's natural and organic and healthy. And then again, holistic health, and then the social side with the festivals. It honestly, I was so inspired, and I think it just goes to show, you know, how much can be achieved when people come together and they work together with a common goal and a common aim, and they actually dedicate themselves to really working towards it. It is just amazing to see what they're achieving. And I'm hoping we did have a chat about bringing him on our Community Matters series. So hopefully we'll be able to get them on and have a good chat with them, and they can tell everybody sort of in their own words, and probably far better than I can, what they're up to. Incredible people.
We're seeing that, aren't we? That all these amazing projects, and obviously we've been speaking to a lot of these people, inspiring people on the interviews. They're all that holistic. They're all it's like there's a blueprint. Of course there'll be variations, but it's like this natural response to what has happened here, what we're facing, and it's inevitable. And because it's so in tune and aligned with our natural state, I guess you could say, that's why these things just grow, and it is happening collectively. So you all these different groups, organizations, collections of people that have never heard of each other, and yet they're all doing the same thing. It's all arising in this consciousness, our collective consciousness, because it's the next step. And we've talked about a lot, haven't we, about this whole shit show basically being somehow the biggest blessing, as much as it's horrendous, and there's no justifying or downplaying the loss and the, you know, the things that we're going to be seeing still for years to come. But I've been thinking about this a lot, is this inevitability that for this we've been so led astray, we're so disconnected. For the great majority of people, intense suffering is the only way to snap people out of it and make them aware of their true nature. And this is the, you know, when you're confronted with absolute fear, terror, and there's a point where it's so intense that will either be the point where, because you can't get away, there's nowhere to go, there's no distraction, there's nothing, we're talking about, you know, major survival fear, which I think unfortunately we are going to be, not all of us, you know, I think we have got these alternate realities and things that we create, but I do just see that it's vital that people are absolutely confronted, and it will be either you know, you don't make it, it's too much, or that's the thing that
well, I think it has been the whole COVID nonsense that I think from the people that I've spoken to, that has been the catalyst that has kind of, for many of us that have perhaps for most of our lives not kind of felt like we fit in, kind of been a bit like the world feels a bit wrong, it doesn't really make sense, I don't really understand what's going on here, and never really kind of done that deep dive into, you know, the conspiracy theories. I think, you know, COVID was that bosh, you know, and you kind of, it was that you were pushed into really kind of addressing and yeah, this awakening, this realization that actually, no, it's not that we don't fit in, it's not that there's anything wrong with us, actually there is a hell of a lot wrong with the world. And although there's been that journey of where I'm sure we have all, you know, felt the negativity and the suffering and the what's the word, just I suppose the devastation as that veil kind of crumbles, as those illusions kind of crumble and you kind of grieve for this life. You know, I think many of us, if not most of us, have come out the other side with this renewed positivity. If I finally get it, like I finally get like why I'm here and what I'm here to do, and it's to, you know, help usher in, you know, us going back to being the people that we were supposed to be before we've been, you know, manipulated and programmed by all this crap. And yeah, I think it's made me a stronger person. I think it's made a lot of people a lot stronger. We've come up against so much, and stood firm and are still standing, and actually, you know, we're achieving more than I think many of us ever thought we ever could, you know, recognizing the power that we have as individuals, and obviously how big that power gets when we unify as a collective and what we can all achieve together. I think it is an incredible time to be alive. It's an incredible time for kind of personal growth, spiritual growth. And yeah, I think, yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, this is the time, definitely. I think, you know, and the thing is, we're always at choice. I know it might not seem like it, but how we respond, and this is like just bringing it back to the going off grids, but you know, off the tech and stuff, where you can get to that place and you've got that clarity, and you can start to look past the fear and you can see the mechanism of it and how it works, how it plays out. And it's just unconscious behavior. You know, most of the time when we're feeling fearful, it's a projection of the future that hasn't happened, and you're experiencing it as if it has. And so this is how we get into that whole creating our reality, because, you know, we talk about that a lot as well, where your energy was it. And I always get this back to front every time I get it wrong. Where your attention goes, energy flows, something like that. And then we start to experience it in our reality. You know, this is all, we're all co-creating this experience. But I think what we're seeing now, which I felt a bit worried for a while as well, thinking, bloody hell, like what? It was just a massive fear fest, and it seemed like nothing was actually happening. There was no place to go, no sanctuary. There wasn't really a focus on, we knew that we had to do something, build an alternative, but nothing seemed to actually be happening for quite a while. And then suddenly, because that realizations occurred, okay, like we what do we want? And all that attention and energy's gone there. And so now we're seeing this flourishing of all these different ways of living. And because, like I said, it's in alignment with our natural state, people are drawn, and we're not going to have to like bash people over the heads to come and join us. It will be beyond, you know, those who are open to it, and it will often be on an unconscious level. They will just be drawn, they will just be pulled, because it's living in tune with how we actually are, what's inside, you know, beyond like personalities and preferences and things like that. It's just harmonious, and it's more natural, in the sense of when you go out into nature, kind of being in sync with that, how everything just does its thing, and there's no effort, it's effortless, and it's just, and it will just spread and spread. And as long as we're focusing on that, and we're not drowning in fear, and this is what I was saying, to switch off when you can, because it's even when you're reading the alternative, you know, it's our version of our side of things, whatever, it can still be feeding the beast, because what are you actually taking on here? And there's only so much you can take in before you're saturated and you're scattered, you can't actually think straight. So just be mindful, I think, of where, and remember, we're alive here, we're still living. We can't put life on hold until this is all sorted, because what does sorted even look like? And who knows?
I don't think sorted isn't coming for a very long time. It's going to be a long journey to get the world and humanity back to where it's supposed to be. But I say buckle up and enjoy the ride. I say dance. I did so much dancing on
Just
the weekend, and when I was away before as well. But just there is something so freeing
There
about
really
being on
is.
the dance floor or in a tent in the middle of a field. Like,
Dance
excellent.
wherever.
But
I
yeah,
used to, do you know what, for a while, and I haven't
it's
done
like so
this.
freeing about dancing.
Yeah, I used to make sure I danced to myself, like just on my own every morning, because it would change my energy. Because quite often I'd get up and I'd be like,
Yeah, I think I've seen. Yeah,
"Ah,
it's been they've studied it and
it does,
shown, you know,
it just
the different connections and the pathways in the brain and stuff.
get
But
some music
yeah, well,
on."
there you go. If anyone wants any homework, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to get up every morning, put your favourite tune on, and have a dance.
Honestly, it will change. It will change, because I'm often quite grumpy when I get up in the morning. I'm like, oh Christ, I'm just thinking of all the stuff I've got to do, and I'm changing that, like my whole morning routine. I'm getting quite strict on, and there's something about the morning. It's a unit, especially if you can manage to get up quite early, and you've got that sense of people aren't up and there's not that movement yet, and you can do a few things, and it's like private time somehow for me. And it will change how you move forward, instead of like, oh, the list of what I've got to do, and it just literally changes your mindset. You still got all those things to do, but you approach them totally differently, and that's what it's about, isn't it? Choice. Like, what am I going to decide about how I want things to be? And that can be like really minuscule, like all your personal stuff, all your life, but then it can expand to life on this planet, whatever you want to call it, where we are. Yeah, I still feel quite la 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 from my break, probably coming across.
Oh, I still feel really tired.
I'm quite tired, but it's in a nice
Yeah.
kind of, yeah, I'm just in quite a mellow state, actually. Long may it continue. But yeah, so well, I think it's been a nice catch up.
Yeah,
Nice,
yeah. I've had lots of
yeah,
been busy bees, the pair of us.
yeah,
Well,
but
we're
in
always busy
we
bees, to be
are.
honest, but busy bees in more kind of personally fulfilling ways.
Yeah, yeah,
Living and enjoying life, feeling that gratitude and
that's it.
being in the present,
Absolutely.
lapping up the beauty that life does have to offer.
It does. It's all here. It's like frequencies on the radio, isn't it? It's all actually here. When the masters and the sages and that talk about heaven on earth, they're not kidding. It's like it's actually here, but if you're not on the right bandwidth, you're not going to pick it up. But we can always tune in anytime. So, but just allow yourself a bit of quiet, and not the constant. Doesn't take much, and I think it's easier and easier for people to truly awaken in the sense of who we really are, what we are, when all of this becomes a joke. Their efforts, it's like, I mean, it's nothing. I think it's much easier because we're moving into that frequency, and the pull is there. People are feeling it. So it is a great time to be alive. It's and it's this is just like this little experience, as these bodies and personalities and characters, what's inside is eternal and will go on and on and on, and it's loving this whole thing, all the drama, the excitement, the highs and the lows, and that, because this is never touched, never harmed, nothing ever happens to that's the constant perfect state, just observing all of this and getting to know itself through these illusory characters that we're playing. So no matter how bad things are and the grief and losing, it's not real. None of that's real. So like you say, enjoy the show, enjoy the ride. And we're still compelled to do what we're doing. We still have that compassion. None of that goes away when you realize that. In fact, it frees up more energy to be more effective, but you're not suffering through it. The suffering is optional. So, and with that,
Yeah.
we shall bid you
We shall
farewell.
send lots of love
As
to
always.
everybody.
Yes.
Little shout out to every single one of you that I met at the festival. It was amazing to meet you.
Yeah, I hope to be at the next one. I hope there will be I'd imagine there'll be another
Oh yeah,
one.
they said they're definitely going to do a next one. I've started saving already.
Yeah.
Like I'm absolutely going. There's nothing will stop me. I'm not passing up that opportunity again. It was
I will
amazing.
be in the tent next door.
Yeah!
All right, lovelies. Speak to you soon. Have a great week. Take care. Bye.